All right, we are live. Welcome to another episode. We are going to be diving into today the topic of color management in DaVinci Resolve. I'm really excited about today's topic because I've done a lot of research. I have studied a lot of different blogs and a lot of different YouTube videos, some Instagram clickbaitable reels that got me down this rabbit hole in the first place. And I am actually going to link the articles and things that I'm going to be referencing today in the comment section of this video. So if you are curious about where I'm getting some of this information, you can actually see it for yourself. And then some of this I've done through a lot of trial and error, and I'm going to be showing the results with you so that you can make the best decision for your color grading whenever it comes to getting the best looking image out of your films from color grading to delivery, because we're going to be going over exporting, because a lot of the times we'll color grade a film and then export it and it just doesn't match the same, or we put something on social media, or we view it in Chrome, or we're in Safari or QuickTime or whatever it is, and it's going to look different. So I think this is going to be a really fun time. So if you also have comments, or if you want me to try and test something, let me know. I'll also have some test links as I'm getting through this video that I want y'all to test as well, and maybe give some feedback in the comments if it's working for you, if it looks different. But we're definitely going to be talking about color management and how it affects the color tools and also the export settings. And this is specifically for DaVinci Resolve. I'm also going to be referencing a lot of different stuff in here, and this is going to be mainly focused at Mac computers and some of the issues that a lot of people have recognized when it comes to properly grading their footage and referencing that footage. You'll hear a lot of people say I should be in DaVinci Wide Gamut for timeline color space, and I should be a Gamut 2.2 in my output color space. And you're also going to have different tags where you just do Rec 709, not Rec 709A, and all this different information. And I went ahead and did all the tests for you. So we're going to be able to look at this together and feel very confident with where we're going to be heading. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at the settings. All right. So I'm going to be looking at this image that I have loaded up in DaVinci Resolve. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to take a look at our settings. And how everything is going to be influencing this image, which has a lot of different color, and we have skin tone, so we can really tell what we're looking at. So we're going to open up our settings window, and we're going to go over to color management, okay? And we have a few different things. We have color science, we have timeline color space, and we have output color space. And I'm going to be going over each one and how they actually respond. And the big thing for me is I'm going to be focused on using Rec 709 Gamut 2.4 for my timeline color space. And then also my output color space is going to be Rec 709A. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. Now, before we get to this, I want you to think through these two things. When we talk about timeline color space, we are not necessarily talking about grading in that color space. We are talking about how certain tools respond in that color space. So I can be in Rec 709 2.4 and I can be in DaVinci Wide Gamut, and the image can look the exact same and the tools can respond the same way. So you're like, then what's the point of the color space? I'm going to break that down for you. And when it comes to output color space, that is going to be what we're going to be viewing the window. So this viewer that we're looking at, how it's going to respond. Now this doesn't come into play until you enable one checkbox. So I'm going to click cancel. I'm going to come up here to DaVinci Resolve and go to my preferences. And over here in the system, we're going to go down to general. And if you're on a Mac computer, you need to make sure that you're using this checkbox of use Mac display color profiles for viewers. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and show you what it looks like. Okay. Now you can see the image just shifted and it looks a lot darker. I'm going to be, most of the newer MacBook Pros or the Mac computers and displays are going to be working in a P3 color space with a Gamut 2.2. Now let me see if I can pull up ColorSync utility. So I'm going to try to pull up an app and we're going to take a look at why this is happening. So I have some different displays over here, and right now I've actually shut my screen, my computer, because I am in clamshell mode and I'm working with two different displays. But what you can do is you can come over here, you can click on your display, and then you can look at the profile and click open. And then you can come down all the way to the bottom and you'll see Apple Display, where's it at? right here, okay? So Apple Display Video Card Table. And whenever you're looking at your computer, it will tell you what the gamma is. This is not correct right now for what I'm using, but it will show 2.2 on a Mac computer. And that's how you know that you're working in a gamma 2.2 and you're in the P3 color space. And that is going to be really helpful to know as we're starting to grade, but most of our delivery is going to be in Rec 709, and usually people talk about Gamut 2.4 as the broadcast standard. Later, I'm going to be breaking down where Gamut 1.96, which is Apple's Rec 709A, what their gamma is, and how this all kind of came about a little bit. And there's also, I've linked the white papers in the description of this video if you want to reference that. But let's go ahead and see this image. And now it's going to be displaying without using any of the color management from ColorSync, which is what Mac's software is going to be utilizing to process all the different color variances and to kind of hone everything in. So if we come back up to our settings now and we just change our output color space, let's just pick something wild. Let's go red color 2, red log film. Click save. All right, nothing happened to the image. And that's because we can see over here it's going to be changing, but right here, output color space, nothing happened, and it's because we're not color managing with ColorSync. So this has not, you can change this all day and nothing will happen until you come over. So let's go ahead and set it to, let's just do something crazy. Let's just do S-Log3. Okay, nothing, and then we're going to come back up to DaVinci Resolve, Preferences, go to our General tab, and click Use Mac Display Color Profile for Viewers. Now watch. Bam, we're in the S-Gamut color space over here. So let's go ahead and now dial that in. So we want to make sure that what we're viewing is what it's going to look like in post, and that is going to be Rec 709A because I'm on a Mac computer, and that is going to be using the gamma of 1.96, okay? So we're going to be setting that up. So this video right here, this viewer, I already exported this, and we have multiple exports that I'm going to be testing. One I linked down there, and if you pull that up, and I pull this up in QuickTime, it is going to look identical to this image. And that's how I know Rec 79A is the correct output, because it's going to be matching QuickTime. And I'm going to be going over the different apps, not just QuickTime, but VLC and a lot of other different stuff in Chrome, Frame.io, how everything looks on Instagram. So hang with me for a little bit. So we figured that part out. Now let's go over our timeline color space. Okay, so right now we're in a gamma 2.4. And part of the information that we're going to be referencing is how this responds. And the main thing to consider is your color tools, okay? So if I come over here and I am going to, let's just crank up our curves. Actually, let's do it right over here. I'm going to go really hard on the gain, okay? And then just pull down on the lift, okay? Just pretty abruptly, okay? Now let's just change our color space and see what happens. Timeline color space, let's change it to DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. All right, nothing changed, okay? The image looks the exact same, the same movement is there, okay? So timeline color space isn't affecting anything right now, okay? Now, it's because there's certain tools that you use that can recognize which color space you're working in and adapt, okay? And I'm going to list off those right now. So the ones that are going to be responding specifically to that tab of timeline color space is going to be your HDR tab right here. Anything you change in here will change once you change your timeline color space. Also, it will be your color warper. Color warper will be the second thing. And then also a third one, which not many people have referenced, but is going to be your color space drop down here. So if I go down here and change color space to something, let me make sure that I'm in, all right, DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. So if I come to my, let's just start with the HDR tab, and we're going to change our light image there, and then let's just go down and crank our darks and just kind of make an intense image just for a reference, okay? Now, if we come up and we change this back to Rec 709A, or Rec 709 Gamma 2.4, let's watch the image. It immediately changed. So we know that HDR tools respond differently based off your timeline color space. So if you're using HDR tools, you need to be aware of what timeline color space you're grading in, okay? Now, let's try the color warper, okay? So I'm going to reset this. Let's see what the color warper does. I'm just going to crank the greens all the way over to magenta, and let's adjust this back to DaVinci Wide Gamut. And that shifted just slightly, so you're going to see a notice just a little bit in color in the color warper, where you're going to notice that's going to change based off your timeline color space. Now, if we change our right here, if we want to change color space on a node level, and we go to, say, the LAB color space, which is going to be, the red channel is going to be luminance, the green channel is going to be the A and spectrum, and then the B spectrum. So pretty much they're going to be red and green for A, blue and yellow for blue. So what that means is if I come over to my curves and I just take my red channel, which is going to be luminance, if I make an S curve, that looks horrible. That is not responding properly. And the reason for that is because I'm in the DaVinci Wide Gamut intermediate color space. If I switch this back to Rec. 709 Gamut 2.4, now it responds as an actual luminance effect. So if you're using a drop-down color space, okay, like HSV, and you want to disable some channels and only work with saturation, it's not going to work the proper way in DaVinci Wide Gamut from my tests, and you can test it on your own. So just be aware that if you are changing your timeline color space, this comes into play with specific tools, okay? I can be in Rec. 709 2.4 and still work in a DaVinci Wide Gamut node-based color management. And remember, this, we're not managing it. We're just doing DaVinci YRGB, and that is the two tools. So the color warper and the HDR wheels, those are going to be responding differently based off your timeline color space. All right? Now, if you change this to color managed, it's going to be different. You're going to have the HDR palette, you're going to have your color warper, but then you're also going to have your curves and your keying. So those are additional tools that will change if you're in a color managed workflow. But you can be in DaVinci YRGB, change to Rec. 709 Gamut 2.4. Let's save and then make sure our output color space is to Rec. 709A. And then we're going to save that. And then you can still add a color space transform. So if we come over here, add a color space transform, we're going to go from, this is an actual Rec. 709 clip right now, so we're just going to do Rec. 709 Gamut 2.4, and then we're going to go into DaVinci Wide Gamut, and then DaVinci Intermediate, and we're going to duplicate that, copy it, and then just swap it. Okay, so now it should be net zero right there. And then we can grade inside here and still get access to DaVinci Wide Gamut, okay? You don't have to have that in the timeline color space in order to get access to working in a wider color space. I know a lot of people are talking about you have to have that because it's the widest color space. Yes, it is a wide color space, and you can grade in that. You can do that in between nodes using the Rec. 709 2.4 timeline color space. So just keep that in mind. Think through that. Again, reiterating how the tools respond. And then this one is how your viewer responds. Okay, that is the focus of those settings. And now we're going to dive into our exports and how everything translates and looks properly, because that's the big thing, is we can have it viewing well, but what are the export settings and how all that is dialing down. All right, let me actually bring on Levi. We can probably go through a couple questions real quick before I start breaking down certain things, and that might be really helpful for people. So just want to bring you in. What's up, Levi? Let me make sure I can hear you. Oh, I got you muted. Now talk. No, I got you muted. Let me see. Talk. Oh, I don't hear you. I think you got you muted on your end probably. So, All right, let me just look at some of the questions real quick and kind of figure some stuff out. But yeah, I don't see any audio coming through on that end, which is interesting. Okay, so let me add this to the broadcast. We got a question pop up. Should I also check the view on Mac display if enabled the HDTV Rec. 709 in display settings? The view on if enabled the HDTV Rec. 709. Not sure what you're referencing. Is that in the preferences? Let me take a look. So this is pretty much the only one that I'm using. You can also check this if you want Rec 79 scene clips to be labeled as Rec 79A. Also, drink of choice, Daniel. I am Chick-fil-A vanilla iced coffee. I know. So that's pretty much the only one that's going to impact the settings whenever it comes down. What's up, Aaron Bean? So, all right, I'm going to start going through some stuff, and I'll check some of the questions in a little bit, and we'll take a look at that. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into the export settings because I know a lot of people are curious on what to do for that. Now, let's move over to our delivery tab. All right, and this is where some of the magic happens, and this is also where a lot of the issues happen too. So if we click advanced settings right here, we can see the color space tag and the gamma tag. All right, and this is going to be adding a tag so that certain browsers or different things want to understand how you want to deliver this footage and how you want to interpret it. Now, if you don't change any of this, it's going to be referencing whatever your settings are right here. So if I have Rec 79 Gamut 2.4 for my timeline color space and Rec 79A, then I don't have to change anything because that's the settings I want to go for. I don't need to manually do it. So, however, if I were to manually do it, I would choose Rec 79 for my color space because that's where I'm delivering, and then I'm going to do Rec 79A. If you do Rec 79 or Rec 79A, they're going to be the exact same, and I'll show you why in these tests. Pretty much Rec 79 is still referencing or is being interpreted as Rec 79A everywhere I've seen that video file. So both of those options will work. And then whenever we export, we will get into what this looks like. So stick with me. Here we go. All right. We've got a lot of things to show you. So whenever we've exported, I've exported different versions. I did a Rec 79A. I did a Rec 79 just as is, Rec 79 2.2, and Rec 79 2.4. And then I also did a P3 Rec 2.2, 2.4, all that other stuff to really see how everything responds. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up QuickTime, which is our native viewer, to view our footage in on a Mac computer. So if I look at Rec 79A and I look at this image right here, it is going to be the exact same as what I'm viewing in DaVinci Resolve. And that's how I know that I'm getting a proper viewer of that. Now, if I were to bring a Gamma 2.4 clip into QuickTime, you can see that it's actually darker. So it is reading that tag of 2.4 and presenting it as a Gamma 2.4 tag to view, okay? And so in QuickTime, it recognizes that tag. And if we, let me see, we can do our inspector. Let's see if it shows up. It might not show it up here. Let me see video details. All right. So it is going to be a 121, and that's going to stand for Gamma 2.4. If it's 111, that's going to be the Gamma Rec 79A, which is 1.96. And if it's going to be Gamma 2.2, it's going to be a 141. And that's how you can tell that it's which gamma it was exported in. And then it was also in BT709. Now, if I drag this clip into VLC, which is supposed to be not color managed, it is going to still look very similar. So this is VLC right here, and this is a Rec 79A. And if you bring this up here, you can see that it's pretty close. Let me see if you can see. It looks just a touch darker. So I would say if this is Rec 79A, this feels almost like a Gamma 2.0 or something, like pretty close. It's definitely not a 2.4. And then that is viewing the Rec 79. And let's go ahead and play it real fast. This is going to be, so this is the Gamma 2.4. You can see what it looks like. And then you have the 1.96 also, which looks like it just dropped off. Let's find it here. So we're going to click on Rec 79A. Watch this. And then the next one is going to be 2.4. And look, it looked the exact same. So it seems like there is some kind of color managing going on, or the ColorSync is able to see that I want to view a Rec 79 image, and it is going to be displaying it in a for me, for my viewer. So it's actually changing it in VLC as well. So even if I give it a 2.4, it's not responding like QuickTime. So that is something really interesting that I found. But the big thing is where are these videos going to live? Well, most of the time I'm going to be uploading for web. And web, a lot of people are referencing, is a Gamut 2.2. So I decided to upload Rec 09A, Rec 09, 2.2, and 2.4, and we're going to view it in Safari, and we're going to view it in Chrome, and we're going to take a look at how it resolves itself. So I went ahead. Also, if you want to, everyone, you can check the comments right now. I have a link to these clips. If you want to open them up in your browser and see if they look the exact same. If you're working on a Windows, that would be awesome. Let me know if it looks different in a Windows. But I've heard that it looks very similar across everything. So this clip right here, we're in Safari. This is the Rec 709A clip. This is the Rec 709 clip. This is the 2.2, and this is the Gamut 2.4. Nothing changed. So it looks like whenever I'm uploading all of these files to YouTube, the tags are being adjusted so that it's all delivering as what looks like a Rec 709A, because that matches exactly over here. So really interesting about that. So if you're uploading 2.2, it's still going to look just like a Rec 709A. And if we go over to Chrome, let's take a look at Chrome. Here is Rec 709A. Here's Rec 709 2.4. Identical. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if I'm choosing the Gamut tag of 2.4, it's still going to look like a Rec 709A on my Mac computer, whether it's in Safari or Chrome. Okay? So that got me, questioning, well, what about some other apps? Let's take a look at what it looks like when we are going to be viewing for Vimeo. Let's see if Vimeo responds the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe over. And right here, I went ahead and already did a test on Vimeo. And we're going to watch this real quick. But I clicked on a Rec 709A, Rec 709, then I did a Gamut 2.2, then I did get a Gamut 2.4, and then also went through the P3 color space just to kind of see, and no matter which gamma you're using in a P3 color space, still going to look identical as well. So even Vimeo is displaying everything Rec 709 to me. Now that's also, I'm on Safari, also that was very similar whenever I was utilizing the 2.4. And you'll see whenever you refresh this image, watch, 2.4, it's going to display the image, but then when you push play, it's going to feed that Rec 709A and actually change for you. So that was something that was really interesting that I noticed is it's referencing the gamma tags whenever they're using the thumbnail or the image, but once they play the video, it's giving it to me. It's recognizing I'm on a Mac computer and I want to view it in Rec 709A. So anywhere I'm putting my video is going to be displayed the exact same way on a Mac computer. So the big test is, how does that look on mobile? How does that look on Instagram, on things that are not on my computer? So I went ahead and did another test, and I uploaded all these different versions to Instagram, and I viewed them on my computer, and then I also viewed them on my phone, and they looked exactly the same. I will say the phone feels slightly warmer with skin tone, or you could say that the calibrated monitor is a little bit, pinker, but it's actually correct. So I just say the iPhone images look a little bit warmer with skin tone. So all these results, watching this back, is how it looks on mobile as well. So let's take a look at this. So we're going to click on this Rec 79A clip, and it's playing a video. Okay. Then this is Rec 709. Then this is Gamut 2.2, I think. Then Gamut 2.4. And you see when you push play, it starts with the image, but then actually gives you the actual image. Now we're in the P3 color space, which is going to be different. So that is really interesting, where when you watch it, it's going to be delivering it to you all the exact same way. No matter which way you're tagging it, it's still going to show you the exact same visual on an Apple device. So all this conflict of trying to figure out how should I be exporting, things look different. They should look the same on all of your platforms if you're using Rec 709A. But even we noticed, even if you're doing 2.4 or 2.2, it's going to be displayed to you on all your browsers and all your phones the same way pretty much. So then it comes down to, what about people that are not, like, what about broadcast TV? What about projector? What about Android devices? What about different browsers for Windows? So those are things that I have not been able to officially test because I do not have a Windows computer. And that's where I would love for y'all to try some of this footage, which I've included in the description of this video. Pull that up and see if the results look different to you. I'm really curious as well, but that is something that I noticed, that if I'm delivering for web, if I'm delivering for social media, I'm going to be using Rec 709, and I'm going to be displaying everything in a Rec 709 color space with the Rec 79A, and it's going to look the same on everything. So that was something that was really interesting for me to learn as I was diving into a lot of this. Now let's take a look at one thing that I found was really interesting, and that is Frame.io. Okay. So Frame.io, here is a Rec 709A clip, and we can see that this is going to be looking the exact same right over here. And then I went to do a Rec 79 2.2. Let's push play. That is going to look pretty much the same. And then when we go over to Rec 2.4, check this out. It looks the same until you click on original. If you click on original quality, it actually listens to the tag that was used and displays it for you properly. So if you're in Frame.io and you're curious how your visuals are going to look, they're all going to be corrected if you're just using however the compression is. But if you're using the original shot, then it's going to look the same as it was in QuickTime viewing with a tag of 121, which is 2.4 gamma. So that was a really interesting finding, is that Frame.io is compressing the images, and when you're viewing them, they're all being displayed similarly and they're being retagged, it looked like, of some kind. But if you're looking at the original, it should display the way it was intended with the original tag. And then lastly, I wanted to just talk really fast about Rec 709. When we talk about Rec 709, this is going to be interesting. I just realized perfect. So with this, we're looking at the data sheet of Rec 709 or BT 709. So if we talk about Rec 709 or BT 709, which is going to be broadcast television, this is where it originated from, right here. And these are the parameter values for the HDTV standards for production and internal national program exchange. And this is where it was birthed. And if you kind of click into BT 709, then it will tell you, all right, it looks like BT 709 version 1 was in 1993. And here is where we can do that. And then all these updates were in 1995. And then we have it all the way up to 2002. And then the latest one, BT 709-6, was in 2015, which is giving the standards that we use today. And since then, we can come back here, and there's been another update called BT 1886. So if you hear 1886, that is right here, and this is referencing Rec 709 and giving it the gamma of 2.4. So when you say BT 1886, you are saying Rec 709 gamma 2.4. When you say BT 709, you're just saying Rec 709. They didn't have an actual gamma attached to that information at that time, which was where a lot of this information gets deep. And if you want to learn more about where 1.96 came from and how it's all been relative, you can or referenced, then I would recommend watching the CineD video that was posted, and I linked it in the description. They also have a very good blog post, very detailed about how we came up with 1.96, how it originated, how CRTs were pretty much a gamma 2.35 to 255, roughly based off of voltage, and that's where we came up with our 2.4 delivery, and we needed all this information to kind of keep things consistent across platforms. So I would recommend researching and looking at this blog if you want to really dive deep and learn all about gamma and how things respond to your video. This is a really great resource, so I definitely wanted to link that for y'all. So, all right. Let me try to bring Levi back and see if we can chat over here. And we'll kind of go through a couple questions if anybody has any. But if you don't, yeah, this has been super fun. Let me see. Levi, are you there? I see you talking, but I don't hear you. And I don't see the audio waveform on my interview feed. So that is interesting. Let me see if I can get you back up. We're going to have him join in just a second. But if y'all have any questions for me, feel free to hit me up. All right, let's try this again. Go ahead and talk, Levi. Oh, man, let me try that. So interesting. We had it working right before the broadcast, so it was really funny. Totally. I'm just going to take a look real quick at some of these comments and kind of see if we have anything that I can kind of go over. So Dan Elliott said, can you post the video links? I'm not seeing them in the comments or video description. Okay. I thought I added them, so let me just check. Maybe I just didn't push save. You know, that would be hilarious if I did. Oh, I didn't. All right. Hold tight. I'm going to click save right now and see if it updates. All right. Let me know if y'all can see in the comments if it's updated. I apologize about that. I had that sitting right there. Yeah, sweet. So we also linked in the comments. We've also linked the test footage that people can link to if they want to. I saw Levi is able to post that on our behalf. But we have some really exciting news too. If you haven't heard, let me see. Oh, Dan Elliott, Kaylin, what do you recommend for changing these settings in Final Cut? Well, you know what's really funny is Final Cut has no issues. Final Cut is what it is. So in that case, we only need to export the video and it's already being tagged properly. So Final Cut never has this issue, only Premiere and only Resolve. And the reason for that is the viewer is not being linked to ColorSync unless you connect your settings where it says display color management and you're going to enable that. Then you get access to it and you use a Rec 79 tag. So that will look the same as Final Cut as long as you do those settings where I had. And then in Premiere, with version 24, you have next, okay, I guess I can do this, and then all of a sudden it gives me a little bubble. Then in Premiere with the version 24, in your Lumetri, you can actually get settings and you can actually change your viewer. So instead of it showing you in 2.4, and you have to use that gamma assist correction, you no longer need to use that in Premiere. So Final Cut's great as is. Premiere needs to be changed in your settings in version 24, and then Resolve needs to do the settings that I just mentioned, and everything should look the exact same on your Mac computer. So hopefully that helps. I'm also a big Final Cut user, and I also love using Resolve, so I kind of understand those a little bit. Let me see if we have another question. All right. I have a MacBook with XRD display. I only use it as a viewer for DaVinci Preview. Should I leave the color profile to P3 or should I go for the HDTV BT709 profile? So by default, our screens are P3 Gamut 2.2, but we are not delivering a P3 color space video because not all screens can display it and not all browsers like YouTube and everything actually will showcase it. I mean, I went ahead, let me see if I have this image, because over here, I exported these in the P3 color space. So here's P3 D65 Rec 79A. So you can view it and export it and work with that. But since most everything is going to be delivered in Rec 709, Gamut 2.8, or 2A, I usually do that, but I would leave it in P3, but just whenever you're exporting and you're working in DaVinci Resolve, I would view in Rec 709, not P3. That's just a personal preference, but you can try both. You just want to make sure that what you're looking at and what you're exporting is going to match, okay? So if you can view in P3 and you're exporting in P3, then they should match, but not everything needs to be displayed in P3. So I would probably leave that as whatever the native setting is for the XDR display, I would leave it as is, if that makes sense. And then also how about the brightness? So the brightness is dependent. Like for instance, the screen I'm viewing right now goes up to 350 nits, unless I go into the HDR and then it enables it brighter. But and then our computers can do 1600 nits. So you can actually do HDR. So I think a future video I'll do is how we can actually grade and work in HDR and deliver Instagram HDR videos, which is pretty cool. And it's just a really brighter image. A lot of those highlights are increased because we have a lot more headroom up there. So I feel like that's kind of how I would view that answer. But the brightness, usually they recommend about 120 to 150 and grade in that. But it's all preference. Sometimes I'll do it darker, and then let's see if I can do it darker. So say this is probably like 120 right here. And then I can get it brighter. But if you're doing it really bright and you're making things darker, then whenever you're more in a natural environment. So I usually put my settings about halfway, and will sometimes grade about there. So hopefully that helps make sense. Let's see. All right, let's ask this other question. Soul Film Co. So if you have a timeline color space as Rec. 79 Gamut 2.4 and the output color space is Rec. 79A, then you can just leave the color space tag and gamma tag as the same as the project, correct? Yes, this will be pulling from exactly that. So if you have same as project, it is going to be referencing right here, which is what I'm wanting to export anyway. So I will leave that as project, and I've tested this. I've exported it. They look exactly the same. They have the same tags. So that should answer your question. But yes, that will be the same. Cool. Let's see if there's any other questions. Yeah. And we're going to leave this broadcast up too. I mean, I'm going to try to make sure if I have any new links, I can reference them in here. We might do a follow-up video in the future if people want that, where maybe we break down how this looks on Windows computers and just make sure everything's compared. But this should be a very thorough resource for you as you're considering all your settings and everything to make sure that it's all dialed in. So just as a recap, I just want to make sure that let's go ahead and the big thing that I want to remind y'all is those two settings that we have. The output color space is dictated off if you have the display color profile turned on, teched on for a Mac computer. Then that comes into play, and it will match if you choose Rec. 79A. Then the timeline color space is all referenced to certain tools. If you're non-color managed, it's going to be HDR, Color Warper, and then your drop-down option when you're selecting color space will change. If you're color managed, then you're going to have HDR, you're going to have Color Warper, you're going to have your curves, and even keen will be that. And you can check out one of the videos. Darren Moston did a really good one breaking down some of that. And then Colin Kelly has another video. He's really good with a lot of different information and as a teacher, and I love all the stuff he's saying. He did talk about Gamut 2.2. However, after doing all my tests, I personally don't see a use case for that unless I need to test on other environments where that makes sense. But for now, I'm going to choose this setting because I've tested it all, and it seems to work really good across everything. So, but again, I'm always open to learn new things, but after doing all this extensive testing on different browsers and everywhere else, I think I can safely say that if I'm delivering for web and I'm delivering for social media, these are the best settings to use, and it'll look exactly how it looks whenever I'm color grading, and I'm going to get consistent results, which I think is super important. Okay, and then we have another question. Let's see. Do you use a breakout box for your external monitors? No. So I actually have a hub that goes straight to a Dell computer or a Dell monitor, and this monitor has a built-in color probe that pops up and actually can color grade, or color balance and profile everything. And I can actually change all my settings on here. So I have my screen set to a Gamut 2.2 because that looks the best on here, and it looks very similar to all the places I'm delivering to online. So even though web might be 2.2, I'm viewing on my phone, it'll look very similar to my screen at 2.2. And then I tested this on just the monitor, on a MacBook monitor, which is supposed to be a Gamut 2.2 P3. So I personally have, instead of a Gamut 2.4, I don't do broadcast right now, mainly doing for a 2.2 delivery. And so that's how I view on my screen. So hopefully that is helpful. Sweet. All right. Sweet. I think this is it. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If y'all have any questions, again, just hit us up and let us know. Again, I would love for y'all to continually, subscribe if you want to be a part of this. And then every week we're going to be trying to do these lives. We also have a brand new LUT pack that is officially launched only for those that are a part of our newsletter. So if you join our newsletter, definitely want you to check that out. We're really excited about this brand new LUT pack. It's officially going to be launched at the end of February for the public, but if you want exclusive access, definitely check that out. And it is going to be extremely versatile for commercial, for music videos, for just very dynamic sets, even interiors. I'm really stoked on it. It's called Faction, so it's a brand new LUT collection from Gamut. And if you want exclusive access to it, definitely be joining our newsletter because I think that's going to be super helpful. Also, next week, we have a guest that's going to be joining us. So I don't want y'all to miss this. Y'all definitely need to come next Thursday. It's going to be super fun. We're going to be breaking down some brand new color grades and some really cool shots and talk with another filmmaker that is absolutely creating stunning work. And we're going to be going over some color and having some great topics. So make sure that you're joining our newsletter because we're going to be sending out things in advance and you can ask questions for us and we can do that live as well. And you can join us. So anyway, thank you all so much for joining us, and I will see y'all in the next video.